Extra Sports 1150. You are frozen to your sports salvation in the city of Los Angeles. This is the Karl Malone Show with Victor Brick Jacobs in the house with the mailman. Malone is all yoked up today. He's fresh from his workout at 24-Hour Fitness. He's yoked up. He's chiseled. He's ready for you, Los Angeles.
Yep.
Karl, I know it was a great day yesterday, our opening day, but let's get down to business because I know you have a message to Salt Lake City, hearing the show live today at KALL 910. What is your message, Karl, to all of Utah?
Well, first of all, I would like to welcome the listeners of Utah. It's great. I think it's awesome for them to tune in, and we're going to give them a great show today. But I would like to say to the fans of Utah, I am not abandoning Utah. I am a Utah Jazz player. I'm a Jazz player for the Jazz management to lose. We built our dream home in Utah, and that is one of the main reasons. That was one of the stipulations of this show was for it to be carried back in Utah.
Right.
So when people talk about me abandoning Utah, if I abandoned Utah, I would want the show in Utah. So I'm a Utah Jazz player. That's the bottom line, and I'm excited about their calls. We'll have a great show today, and let's get this thing going, Vic.
We open it up to KALL 910 AM in Salt Lake City. Hey, for 13 years, Karl, you are living in Salt Lake, a god among men, one of the great forwards of all time, and you never had the opportunity to do a show in Salt Lake City. Here is an opportunity. You grab an opportunity. I believe that is all good.
Well, the thing about it is, my agent being out here, like we had an interesting point. If I was in Miami or anywhere, if the White Manley was stationed there, I would probably have a show there today because the opportunity is there. And like I said, I was in Utah for 13 years. No one approached me about a show in Utah, ever. So I did some little bits and pieces, but the Extra Sports stepped up and said, hey, you want a show? We'll give you a show. That's the end of the story. It's nothing else really to talk about. But I tell you what they can do, Vic, they can call in at 888-522-1150.
That is your toll-free number. Talk to Karl Malone because, hey, if you want inside information on this NBA lockout, here is Karl giving you inside stuff, inside scoop. Like yesterday, Karl, there was success, I believe, at the bargaining table in the secret location in New York City. 9 hours of negotiation. What did the union people tell you?
Well, I think that anytime you get in a room for that long and you look at each other for that long, you're going to make some progress. So I know it might come out like things haven't happened, no progress have been made, but progress was made yesterday, and they continue to meet right now. There's really no reason for me to be back there, obviously. But I think this thing will work out. But the most important thing is the fans. We keep not talking about the fans. We're going to lose some fans, but what we got to do is we got to continue to hang in there together and try to make this thing work out, and we'll be just fine.
They're quoting Dikembe Mutombo of the Hawks. Mutombo says, there's hope.
Right. Well, anytime you meet for 8 or 9 hours, back to back to back, you're going to get some work out. I think that if it was one thing that I want to tell the fans is why they didn't do this
in July.
Right. Because what the fans need to realize, every time we walked in a meeting and they was talking about a hard cap of this, they would walk out. That happened 3 or 4 times. So I think now you look at it, damage have been done. Why we didn't do that earlier and not let the fans suffer or the players, whoever suffer. So now we have to move on. Now we have to gather up the pieces, and we got to continue to try to put a good product on the floor. I'm ready to play. I'm training every day, and I'm looking forward to playing when the season starts.
Finally, there was a word used that I have never seen used between the players and the owners, and that is compromise. Finally, hard cap has been moved away from on the owner's position, representing, I believe, a breakthrough.
Well, that was the sticking point of the whole thing. That's what I'm telling you, Vic. Every time you walked into a meeting, they say, okay, hard cap, soft cap. We say soft cap. Hard cap, soft cap. We say soft cap. Meeting is over. Now we're compromising after a month of training camp loss, which is unfortunate because it will be interesting how some players come back, because some players thinking it's going to be a long time. Some players thinking it might all of a sudden we go in the camp, and maybe some guys not working out like they should. So hopefully we won't miss a beat, because we'll have to be ready to step on the floor and get this thing going at the appropriate time.
Let's face it, NBA season, 82 regular games, a long, long season. You guys missing a month. Of course, everyone's going to be losing money. Yourself, the owners, the venues, the concessionaires, everyone will lose money. But at least there'll be a season, it seems to me. I believe people are coming to their senses and saying, why are we losing all these millions of dollars? Let's at least get this thing in order. And I see this thing being solved within a week.
Well, you say a week.
A week.
I see, maybe within the next 10 days, I would think it'll be solved. I would think within the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll be in the training camp. But let's stress also, Vic, to the fans that's listening to this, let's talk more than just basketball here. Let's talk about other things also to make our world go around, and we'll get to know each other. And I want the fans to get to know Karl Malone and who he is, not as a basketball player. How much more stuff can we talk about Karl Malone, what you do, okay, how many points and all that. Talk about other things, what I like, what I don't like. And I'm saying that because the people in Utah, that's what I always say. Let's get to know Karl Malone, instead of just basketball.
You have become, I believe, the enigma of the NBA. People don't know who Karl Malone is. This is their opportunity. 888-522-1150 is your toll-free number. LA and the Valley, 520-1150. Air Touch cellular users, just punch star 1150. You have direct access to the mailman himself, the All-Pro Karl Malone. This is the Karl Malone Show. I'm Victor Brick Jacobs in the house. In fact, Karl, I feel like the John Stockton of radio here. I am doling out the assists.
That's right. I need the assist. I need John Stockton to give me those assists, so we'll let you sub for him, if you will.
Oh, I would be honored. The all-time assist king, your pick and roll with John is the proverbial play of the NBA, and it is my honor to be in that position because, listen, you kick the ball down low to you on the pick and roll, that's an automatic deuce as far as I'm concerned. For the last 13 years, you've been plying your trade with John Stockton, and it is an unbelievable coupling. And it really, when you think 1-2 punch in the NBA, high-low, you only think Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Yes, what we do is it's like we know each other really well. We know each other, what each other's thinking. And what we try to do is we go out there and try to make the other team pay for that, because sometimes other teams maybe not on the same page like we are, so we try to make them we try to punish them for not getting along maybe with each other.
And he's a tough mother, that Stockton, isn't he? People think, he's 6'1", he's from Gonzaga.
Let me tell you something. If I was in a foxhole,
yeah,
I want him right there with me.
Kathy in Salt Lake City, say hello to Karl Malone. Karl, you're on the air with Kathy. Kathy, say hi. Kathy in Salt Lake City, what's up?
Kathy in Salt Lake City. She's not there.
Kathy is out of here.
Al in Salt Lake City.
We're going to have Al in Salt Lake City. Al, what's going on?
Hello?
Al, you're on the air.
Hello, hi, Karl Malone.
Al, how are you doing?
Fine, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, what do you think about this NBA lockout still going on?
Well, I think that progress is being made. I don't really think that, it's good for us or anybody else. I think what we have to do is we have to realize that it's a lot of hard feelings going to be there. But when the season starts, I think we got to continue to try to do the things that we're capable of doing. And that's playing basketball and try to carry a great reputation. The damage I feel have been done, and the only thing you can do is just move on from there.
All right, I got another question.
Please.
Yeah, what are your interests in Lakers? You planning to, come to L with them? On the team, as a member?
Yes, my interest in life is just to try to capitalize on every opportunity to, being the person that I can be, for is trying to do the right things on and off the court and look at opportunities that present themselves. And I think anybody out there have to be willing to look at opportunities. And it's not going to be the most ideal situation for everybody to understand. But if you're happy with yourself and the decisions you make, you got to go from there.
Everything you ever wanted to know about Karl Malone, but you're afraid to ask, it's time. Welcome back to the Karl Malone Show. I am Victor Brick Jacobs, the John Stockton of radio, doling out the assists with pride and pleasure to Karl Malone, the mailman. Yes. Special delivery in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Karl, it's great again to be with you. Day 2 of the Karl Malone Show. A lot of critics already. Let me just touch on Tommy Hofarth of the LA Daily News, who wrote yesterday, before you're even on the air with the Karl Malone Show. Hofarth says, sports talk goes another notch below hokey self-promotion when AM 1150 parades Karl Malone out today as its new lockout stir-crazy host.
Right.
It wouldn't make sense even if 1150 was a jazz station.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, it's people out there, and that's their whole job, is to write negative things before they even heard the product. And we've been dealing with that situation in Utah. I don't think we should even give him the benefit of the doubt and talk about him. I think he made his statement. We just go on from there, Vic.
Absolutely, my friend. Let's go first to Chet in San Dimas in the Dodger RV, courtesy of El Monte RV. Chester the Arrester, you have hit the streets of Southern California. Say hello to Karl Malone. Chester in San Dimas. We'll get back to Chester as soon as he gets his technology
in order,
in full effect. Kareem is in Long Beach. Kareem, say hello to Karl Malone.
Hey, Karl, how you doing, Karl Malone?
Kareem, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a question for you. What was one of your extracurriculum activities that you participated in college?
Well, I
good question at Louisiana Tech in Ruston. What do you do there?
Well, I hunt and fish a lot when I was in my off time or whatever, and I always went home. I was just 45 minutes from high school, so I went home all the time where my college is at, and I went home to see my mom a lot. So I did that a lot of time instead of staying there on college all the time.
What did you use for bait for fishing?
I use live minnows and earthworms. That's a great one.
Excellent question, Kareem.
Thanks.
Because
yes,
this guy, Karl Malone, is always hunting, always fishing. He loves the backwoods, loves to get away from it all. You're a naturalist, really.
Yes. Well, I love outdoors. I grew up around hunting and fishing, and it's amazing that you brought that up, Vic, because right now back in Utah, they're trying to pass a new rule now about the hunting and fishing. So we have Proposition 5 in Utah that we want you to vote yes for, and that's because people don't realize that hunters put over $3 billion a year into our economy at some point in time to help economy. But when you get people that don't like hunting or fishing, it don't make sense to them. So what I'm saying is that's something I grew up all my life, and that's something I will continue to do, and that's something I will always do with my kids also, because when you're talking about spending a lot of money, you don't have to spend a lot of money to go hunting and fishing.
Hey.
And you can take the whole family.
The great outdoors. Chester the Arrester in the Dodger RV in San Dimas. Chester.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. We got a new phone in this thing. Maybe it cut out. I don't know.
Yeah, sure, Chester.
Don't you talk to me.
Chet can take you up.
You only got 4 inches on me,
That's
Carl.
right. Chet can take you up.
Hey, Chester, but I got this bud right at my fingertips, though. Go ahead.
What's going on, Chester?
All right, here's the deal. I'm in the city of San Dimas on Bonita Avenue. This is right off Arrow Highway and the 210 freeway. I have here a pair of tickets to see Kiss at Dodger Stadium Saturday, October 31st, which happens to be Halloween. I also have tickets to the Marlboro 500 at the California Speedway, also Saturday the 31st. So
cool.
Come on down. And those Dodger radios, I've got a few of those, and those 40th anniversary cups, so get on down here.
We'll talk about cars. Karl Malone, number one, has car dealerships, in Albuquerque.
And one in Toyota in Albuquerque, Toyota in Salt Lake, and Stockton Malone Honda.
Oh, okay.
And an auto mall in Salt Lake City.
He's an entrepreneur, this guy.
Wow, I had no idea.
Oh, yeah, Karl Malone is nationwide.
Now, those Kiss guys are the one with those long tongues, ain't they?
Yeah,
with all the paint.
That's a great concert, by the way, because you got Kiss with the long tongues,
right?
And you got Smashing Pumpkins to open one of the great bands in America today.
Doing Halloween,
right.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Pumpkin.
At Dodger Stadium. Doesn't get better than that. Chester, your location once again.
Okay, city of San Dimas on Bonita Avenue, right off Arrow Highway and the 210 freeway. You can't miss me. I'm in the Dodger RV from El Monte RV, and just come on by.
All righty.
Go see Chet. Thank you, Chester the Arrester. And I'll tell you, Karl, not only are you, number one, so incredibly skilled in basketball, but also in business. You are a mover and a shaker, not only in the great state of Utah, New Mexico, and now I know in Idaho you're opening up a retail store, am I right?
Yes, I have endorsement with Brunswick Corporation. You know, Bayliner Boat and Zep going
Sure.
all those, and they gave me the opportunity to open up a outdoor retail store in Boise Squirrel Mall, Boise Town Mall. So we'll be doing that in about 3 weeks. But also on another note too, with the dealerships, my first involvement was from Larry. So Larry have
Larry
done
Miller.
yes, Larry have done a lot of good things for me. So I have not forgot that. Contrary to what people might think, I have not forgot that. But like I said, you move on and you grow up a lot more in life, and you continue to try to search and do things that you want to do.
We have Rich in Los Angeles. Rich, say hello to Karl Malone.
Karl Malone, how are you, sir?
Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thanks. First, I just want to tell you that early on in your career, I have to admit I wasn't a jazz fan.
Well, thank you.
But being from Idaho, you know, you're inundated with jazz. But in the latter stages of your career, you know, I'm kind of starting to become a believer in you, and I want you and John to get a ring, and I'm a big jazz supporter now.
Well, thank you. So you mean to tell me you're from Idaho,
Yeah.
you live in L.A.,
Yes.
and you wasn't a jazz fan?
Well,
What is wrong with
What
you?
is
But
up,
see,
Rich?
this is the thing. After in the last 5 years, and to boot, my best man, who was just my wedding, is from Salt Lake. So, but I got to tell you, I'm starting to. I shudder to say this, but I'm starting to say I'm a true jazz fan.
Well, I can hear you kind of nervous, but we're not going to get you.
But I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I think has kind of turned me towards your team is undying support of the fans at the Delta Center. To me, you know, I've seen a lot of games in the NBA last season and to the last couple seasons. There is no tougher place to play than in the Delta Center. Would you agree with that?
There's no doubt in my mind that the fans in our arena give us that six man, so to speak. It's amazing because sometimes when we need a little pickup and you do something good, you can kind of, you know, do something with your hand, and they'll give you the loudest ovation that you can have. And without a doubt, I would say our fans are the best in the whole NBA and giving you a spark. And like I said, it's a lot of great true jazz fans, and they know who they are. And there's some like the team because we've been winning, but like I said, our fans are awesome.
Thank
Tremendous.
you, Rich in Los Angeles.
All right.
Unbelievable love coming to Karl Malone. There'll be love, there'll be hate, but one thing, there'll always be passion for you, Karl Malone. I want to hear about this whole Latrell Sprewell case against his agent on Tellum not securing a conduct clause in his contract. We're going to talk about Latrell with Karl Malone on the Karl Malone Show. I am Victor Brick. This is the Karl Malone Show. I am Victor Brick Jacobs in the house with the mailman on Extra Sports 1150 and KALL in Salt Lake City.
910
AM.
on your dial.
Karl Malone nationwide, global, the whole thing. Latrell Sprewell call. Here's a guy, sues his agent, I believe an excellent agent on Tellum, for failing to negotiate a salary protection clause in his contract with the Golden State Warriors. What is your opinion on Latrell? Not so much that he choked Colissimo, but suing his agent for not protection.
Okay, who do you blame? Let's see who you blame. Well, first of all, I know how I was my first jazz contract. I didn't read any of the particulars. I just read, this is how much I get paid, let me sign. And at the time, 12 years ago, I had an agent. And the main thing you have to do is you have to look at what's been presented before you, and did Latrell Sprewell read all of that? Now, I know it went in there to say protect me from choking my coach. I don't believe that, and I don't condone that at all.
Sure.
So you have to go from there. And the young players, I advise them, before you get excited about the money, read that what you can't do. It's 1,000 things you can't do in a contract, but choking a coach is not one of them. I respect Jerry Sloan to the utmost, and we have bumped our little heads. But not one time have I thought about choking my coach. That is not acceptable in this league, and it shouldn't be condoned.
Latrell should be reading the fine print. Wade is in New Mexico, a special guest. Wade, say hello to Karl Malone.
Howdy.
Hey,
Howdy.
Wade.
I know that voice.
Who is this guy?
Wade. That's Wade.
What are you doing, Carl?
That's my general manager from Karl Malone Toyota, Albuquerque, man. How do you have time to call me, Wade?
Do you believe that? I didn't call in.
I don't believe that at all. Who called you?
I have no idea. 1 minute I'm sitting here trying to make some money, and the next thing I know, I'm talking to you.
Really?
From the land of enchantment.
In L.A., Wade, by the way.
This is out of L.A.?
Yes, it's in L.A. You own in L.A. in Salt Lake City on KALL 910.
No kidding.
Yes, you are
Wow.
in Salt Lake City. So Andy, of course, can't hear you because he's in Africa right now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But say hi to all my employees down there, Wade.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Hey, Wade, how is working for Karl Malone?
It's great. Best boss I ever had.
Yeah?
Yep.
What makes him so special?
He's just, he's a real hands-on guy, and he takes care of his people, and it just works well for us.
Well, it's very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Of course, he's right here. What you say behind his back is a whole nother
That's right.
Now-
He and I will talk in a little while.
Now, so you know, Wade was next in line when Andy, my original general manager, came to Utah to open up the Karl Malone Toyota. Wade was next in line, so Wade got a promotion this year and doing a heck of a job, him and all the employees down there.
Very
Thanks,
nice.
Wade.
And Wade, what's moving? What's the hot seller down there?
Forerunners and Camrys.
There you go. All right, very nice. The Karl Malone dealership in the land of enchantment, New Mexico. Wade in the house. Thank you, Wade.
Hey, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Wade.
Thanks, guys. Nice
Bye-bye.
talking to you, Carl.
You betcha.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You are nationwide, Karl Malone. They're calling in from New Mexico. They're calling in from Salt Lake City, of course, on KALL in Salt Lake, 910 AM. How about Sheila from Salt Lake City? Sheila, say hello to Karl Malone. Sheila, you're in the house with Karl Malone.
Sheila.
Sheila
Sheila's
is
gone.
out of here. All right. Listen, Carl, we have a full board. Everyone wants to say hello. Everyone wants to see how you're feeling, number one, on the National Football League experience as well, because I know you have ties to Salt Lake City in that regard. We'll get to that. Welcome back. It's the Karl Malone Show with Victor Brick in the house with the mailman. Special delivery to Los Angeles. Karl Malone. All-pro forward, of course, with the Utah Jazz. 13 years in Salt Lake City doing his thing.
Yes.
Of course, we're broadcasting live into KALL in Salt Lake as well on 910 AM.
And that song go out to all the law enforcement officials nationwide. I love that song right there. One of my favorites.
Talk about law enforcement. Lawrence Taylor, LT, of course, back in drug rehabilitation. And we have LT's lawyer on the line with us, Carl.
You know what, Vic? That is a positive step in the right direction. And the reason I say that because here the last year I've been involved with one of my brothers that I had to get him some help. That's a great starting point. But I will reiterate this right here. You have a you make a mistake, you own up to it, you move on. But you don't get set up for drugs and you don't get set up for alcohol. Those are your choices, but that's a great start in the right direction. Love it.
Tom Milani, lawyer for Lawrence Taylor, LT. Thomas, welcome to the Karl Malone Show with Victor Brick here.
Thank you, Vic Jacobs. And Carl, first of all, let me express my great respect and admiration for you. You're a great person. You're a great player. And I'm glad that we had a chance to talk. And I appreciate your comments about Lawrence Taylor and the fact that the first step to rehabilitation, I guess, is admitting that you have done something wrong. However, I don't want the public to misunderstand the reason why Lawrence is went into rehab. One of the reasons is that he's under a federal sentencing, awaiting sentencing on a federal matter involving income tax.
Yes, sir.
Part of that waiting period and bail supervision requires that you don't get into trouble again. The fact that he was arrested is a technical violation. So therefore, he had the option of either going to jail or going into rehab.
Right.
And, you know, I don't want to see anyone go to jail if they don't have to. And I think the rehab program is going to reinforce him. I don't believe he's on drugs. He's given clean urine. But he's a recovering addict, and as Karl knows from his experience with his family member, that you never cure, you're just recovering. So I just spoke to Lawrence. He's doing fine. He's going to get some rest and get his head together. But I don't want the public to misunderstand the fact that he's in rehab because he's on drugs. As far as I know, he's been clean for 2.5 years. He's been given urine samples as part of his probation. So he's in there because it's a choice of either going there or going into jail. And again, when Karl says, nobody forces you to or set you up for drugs or set you up for alcohol, he's right, except that the facts of this case, 12 hours of being pressured to buy drugs from an undercover person, and the facts are not what they appear to be. Mr. Taylor has taken a polygraph test on Saturday, passed it with flying colors. So there's more to the story than just what the police department in St. Pete have released.
Right. Well, Thomas, I think one of the most important things here is I understand your situation and what Lawrence is doing. I want to say good luck to Lawrence for that. And also, I understand also where you're coming from, where it's one or the other. I understand that. But then on the flip side of that, you have to be committed on helping your client. A lot of people turn their back in times like this because when it gets tough, people throw the towel in. But also, I was involved with my brother, and I know that it's situations that happens where you never, ever fully recover. It's day by day. I understand that too, but I think the most important thing we've done with my brother would be there to support him, and if he's wrong, you have to tell him he's wrong at times. And sometimes, as professional athletes, when people work for them, they always tell them the things they want to hear. And, if you make a mistake, you make one, but I don't think you got to keep dwelling on the fact that you made a mistake unless you continue to make that mistake over and over.
Right. I agree with you 100%, Karl. And you have to understand my position. I'm not only his attorney, I'm also his friend. I care for Lawrence, and I'm the one that tells him when he does something wrong, because I'm not a yes man. And I understand what you're saying. You're an athlete. You know what athletes are exposed to and how they cope with things and how some people can't cope with other things. So, again, I appreciate your comments. I know, Karl, you're a compassionate person. I've followed your career, and I know that you have a heart of gold, and you understand that, look, everybody's a human being, and we all make mistakes, and we, like you say, we can't dwell on the mistakes. We've got to go on and rectify mistakes and go on to something better.
Absolutely.
LT, of course, a god among men in New York City, Lawrence, and rather Thomas. And let me say one thing. I'm sure the New York press may have taken it easy on LT. What is the press reaction in New York City on LT?
Well, if you saw the CBS interview on NFL Sunday, I don't think they took it easy on LT. I think they did a great disservice. We had a 20, 25-minute interview. They only chose to air maybe 3 minutes where he looked upset, incoherent, mumbling, because they threw a curve at him about his throat cancer. They brought out this question that there's rumors that he's suffering from throat cancer, which came out of the blue. So he was upset, and he didn't expect that. I didn't expect it, and so we were sandbagged. So NFL Today and CBS did not treat him kindly. But you're right. Most of the press in New Jersey and New York want to give him the benefit of the doubt because of his stature as a football player, and they've been around him long enough to know that he should be treated fairly. He should not be treated any better than anybody else. Because the fact that he's a celebrity, he should not be penalized for that.
Right.
So that I think the press has been overall doing a good job of reporting the good and the bad, and that's all we can ask.
Tom Malone, we thank you so much for your time at Clifton, New Jersey, and we appreciate the love you're showing for LT and helping him into the next phase of his life as he goes from the darkness into the light.
Thank you very much, and Karl, good luck in the next year. I hope you get your title before you retire.
Thank you very much.
Tom Malone, the lawyer for LT. I'll tell you, Karl, this is basically a microcosm of life. Guys, superstars, they retire. Some make it brilliantly in business and entertainment. Others fall off.
Well, you have to realize, Vic, that you have to have a life. Have to have a life now while you're playing to deal with life after the career is over with. Not when you retire. You have to have a life now. That's what keep a balance in your life. You have a great family. You got to have someone that you can that support you no matter what, to stick with you. You got to have friends that not always going to tell you what you want to hear, but you have to have a life other than the game you play. And sometimes I've been criticized for having a life, for having businesses. Well, you know what? What's going to happen now, because he got all these businesses, is he's going to take away from his ability to play. Why is he riding those motorcycles? You know, that happened. But you know what? That is what having a life mean. It's not all about eating, sleep, and drinking basketball. Put life in perspective. Have a great foundation with your family, with your wife, with your kids or friends, and you go on from there. That's what having life in perspective mean to Karl Malone.
Karl Malone with the perfect balance. I'll tell you, Karl, you are growing in our eyes. This is really the evolution of Karl Malone before your ears. Los Angeles, Salt Lake City, the Karl Malone Show. I'm Victor Brick Jacobs. Welcome back to the Karl Malone Show, 148. This is Extra Sports 1150, KALL in Salt Lake City, 9:10 a.m. And Karl, our illustrious president, general manager of Extra Sports 1150, Roy Laughlin, came up with an incredible concept, brilliant as always, saying that they should rename KALL Radio in Salt Lake City KARL. Karl
910
Radio.
Yes, he's trying to check on that right now. That wouldn't be bad.
Absolutely.
It's not too far from my house either.
Really? How close?
Probably about probably about a half a mile.
Really?
I can run right down the hill.
Now you're up in the mountains somewhere in Utah.
Kind of on the side of the mountain. I think every fan in Utah, or half of them, know where I live because they have a line every Sunday. They go by my house, so every Sunday. But we see them too because we have security cameras. So we see those people. We see them sometimes. They get out and go to the gate like they want to ring it, and I go over there and make a weird voice, get away from the gate. And man, they bolt. So we have fun with them also.
You know, I'm very curious, Karl, because you have bought a lot of real estate over the years in your illustrious NBA career. When you look at a piece of real estate, I know you like to go up into the wilds, into the virgin territories. What do you look for in a piece of real estate?
Well, it's a feeling, because I don't want to buy any piece of real estate that I don't have a great feeling about. I don't want to buy it just for the commercial use of it. It have to mean something to me. I have to love to be standing there to sell it to somebody else. So when I get a piece of real estate, and I happen to like Utah, Idaho, and Wyoming a lot.
All the pristine, really unspoiled splendor of Americana.
Right, and the reason so, because that's how I grew up. And now I have an opportunity to be out in the wild, 10 minutes on my Harley, I'm in the mountains in Utah. And to be able to get away from all that, all the hustle and bustle like that, those are the kind of real estate I like. And then the ultimate is Alaska, which we might bring this show from Alaska next summer. You might come to Alaska, and we might bring this show from there.
Karl Malone nationwide, everywhere into Salt Lake City on KALL 910 a.m. Could be into Anchorage.
Yes.
You'll never know. You never know with Karl Malone. Scott is in Salt Lake City. Scott, say hello to Karl Malone.
How you doing, Karl?
Scott, I'm fine. How are you doing, Scott?
Great. This is an honor to talk to you. I am a true Karl Malone fan for your views on the court and off the court.
Well, thank you.
I feel you're a prime example to all mankind.
Well, thank you very much.
I was sitting here thinking of all the things you've talked about from the past. One thing I feel you need to bring up is your great semi-trucks.
Right. Well,
that's one thing I do miss, seeing those on the road.
Well, Scott, that's something I still want to do later on in life, but right now I didn't feel I was spending enough time doing that, and that's why I don't do it now. Also, Scott, let me just say this. A lot of people probably want to know why that I'm, say, not in Utah practicing. I think the fans need to know about Karl Malone. Vic, I do not touch a basketball in the summertime.
Really?
I do just only weights and cardio. So it don't matter if Karl Malone was in California or Japan. I can still do my workout.
Same regime.
Right, same regime. And when that horn blow, I'll be ready to go.
So what? You're 6'9". How many pounds?
254. I'm down 9 pounds. I'm down 8 pounds from last year this time going into training camp, and I'm loving it.
You're lean. You're leaner than last year, but yet you retain the strength underneath.
Yes, because I probably an hour and a half, 2 hours of my workouts are weight training, and then about an hour of cardio. And I worked out once this morning, and after the show, I go back and I'll work out again this evening for 3 hours. So I take my job serious because you can't become a great player or a good player just when you walk on the court. You have to do that, and that sometimes you step on some toes when you try to get other players to do it. I've had some teammates really step up and do that with me this summer.
Who has followed you in your really primitive but beautiful regime? Because you really get down.
Well, a lot of guys haven't, but I will say this summer I had Brian Russell and Shandon Anderson. We run mountains at my house, do cardio. Brian and Shandon and Greg Foster really did that. But it's different, Vic, when people talk about working out. They think they get a basketball to go shoot 1,000 jumpers. That's not working out to Karl Malone. If I'm in condition, mentally and physically, when I step on that court and I need to work on something, I stay extra. If I need to work on my jump shot, I stay extra. Free throws, stay extra. But if I'm in physically shape to do it, I feel I can do anything. And those three guys there really stepped up this summer. And then our trainer, too, Mark.
Very nice. Karl Malone in perfect physical shape. I've called him the Adonis of the NBA. Welcome back to the Karl Malone Show. This is Victor Brick Jacobs in the house with the mailman. I am his John Stockton, and proud of it. At 158, Extra Sports 1150.
Yes, that's where we at, Vic.
Don't forget Utah. We're going live first day ever into
KALL 910 on your radio dial. And we're trying to get that changed to KARL 910 on your radio dial.
Roy Loughlin in a chartreuse green jacket today. He of the many splendored repertoire of fashion came up with that concept to call KALL in Salt Lake KARL radio.
Yes, and that's chartreuse. That's what you catch bass with. I wish I can get me a knife and kind of cut a little of that off and put it on the end of a hook.
Talk about fishing and hunting. I want to go into Logan, Utah, of course, the home of Utah State. Boyd is in Logan. Say hello to Karl Malone.
Hey, Carl.
Boyd, how you doing?
You know, before I talk to you a second, Carl, hey, I want to thank you for all the charity work you're doing in Salt Lake. There's quite a bit of good going on with Carl's charity organizations, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. Well, boy, what we try to do is, and that's another thing, Vic, people don't know the whole side. Me and my wife have been doing charities in Utah for years now with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now we just started the Karl Malone Foundation for kids, and we help underprivileged kids and sick kids up at Primary Children's Hospital. So we do things like that all the time. Thank you, Boyd. These are the kind of things that mean a lot.
Yes.
You gave us another jam. On Super Bowl Sunday, we just started our VCR in the morning and let it go all day, and we had two upsets. Well, I shouldn't say that. I think Utah's better than Chicago any day.
Well, thank you.
But that was a great day, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You were talking about Thurl earlier, too, and I remember a game when Frank got tossed out and you were tossed out, and old Thurl, he scored
47.
Like 42 points.
47
I remember
in
that
Denver.
game like it was yesterday. That corkscrew jumper.
Right. Let me tell you
something.
You don't score 47 in the league unless you can play some basketball. I got kicked out in Denver. Coach Layton got kicked out because I got kicked out. Thurl Bailey came in and scored 47 points and won the game single-handedly down the stretch in Denver. And the reason I said that because I've already known Thurl. Thurl, I really got to know him a little bit more this summer. We spent some time together, and Thurl had been working out with us and playing some. Thurl Bailey, in my case, I'm just a player now, Vic. I'm not a general manager.
I hear you.
he can still help us win. That's all I would say, and that's what I want to say. And, of course, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but who cares?
Hey, man, it's Karl Malone Show. You say whatever the hell you want to say. Thank you, Boyd. In Logan, Utah, I'll tell you, the Malone fan club is in full effect, not only in Utah, in New Mexico, in Idaho, and you and your lovely wife, Kay, doing the incredible charity work. I'm glad Boyd brought that up. Because who knew? Karl Malone doing all this beautiful stuff.
Well, some people didn't know that, and it's great the board would bring it up because I don't like to get on and talk about all the great things I do, but it's neat because people get to see another side instead of you want this and you want that. Some people are blind to that fact anyway, and that's going to be their take on it. But I'm who I am. Respect me. I will overly respect you. That's all I want.
The Karl Malone Show, the blossoming of the mailman before your eyes.